Hi, everybody. How are you? All right. Because it's so close to Easter, felt like I'd mix things up a little bit for you this morning. We're going to start standing, and I do have a set of very light hand weights. So I've got 1 kilo. So if you've got anything you could grab, that might be a couple of cans out of your pantry. That's okay. They're only half 1 kilo, maybe a little bit less, but that's all right. But if you happen to have a set of hand weights, even better. Sarah, can you hear me? Great, thank you. All right, beautiful ladies. Have a lot of fun. We'll get back down to basics, but we're going to do a bit of standing, balancing, and a bit of warming up on our feet, which is always really interesting for the body, because by the time we lie down, you might notice there's some increased connections that you don't normally feel. Sometimes starting on your back on the mat is a bit challenging when the body's not quite warm enough. And so you will notice some shifts and some changes. So enjoy. Here we go. Up on your feet with me. Great. Might just shift my mat back. Lucky I'm only 5'2". Okay, good. So first port of call is to play with your feet with me. So if you look down, and I'll turn to face camera just so you can see me, I've got all my toes up off the floor, but I've got the pads of my feet still on the floor. So I'm looking down to check ankle alignment. So I'm not pronating, I'm not supinating. I've got the weight evenly placed. So I can feel the big toe knuckle, I can feel the pinky knuckle, and if I look down at my feet, I can also center the second metatarsal head with the center of my ankle. I know it's very early to be paying attention like that, but your feet, it's crucial you get that bit right. So then a bit of toe yoga. You're going to press the big toe down on its own without rolling, without losing your ankle alignment, and then you're going to let it spring back up. And now you're going to place your pinky on the floor without changing your foot alignment, lift it back up. So again, big toe and let it spring back up, and pinky and let it spring back up. Be careful you haven't collapsed in your arches. So there should be a nice big harbour bridge space underneath your midfoot, underneath the middle of your foot. Our intrinsics in our feet play a huge role in protecting our joints, but also providing feedback all the way back up, as high as the hip and the lower back. So you often note if you're getting a bit tender in your lower back and pelvis, there's a really good chance that your foot intrinsics need some work and your ankle alignment needs some attention. So now I'm going to try and keep big toe and pinky toe on the floor, but all the other toes are up. Don't know about you, but that's already a massive stretch for me. So I'm a little bit tight in my big toes this morning, and I can already feel just to do that, that's quite a get. Now pick them both back up. Press them both down and hold them. So this little toe yoga exercise is starting to become another activity called toe push downs. We often teach it with a TheraBand, so apply resistance, but equally as good to do it standing while you and I, as you and I are right now. Both big toe, pinky up. Now we're going to go big toe, pinky toe, and fourth, third, second, all the toes on the floor. Pick them back up. Set your ankle alignment. Make sure you can see that highway from the center of your ankle to your second toe. Go biggie, big toe, go pinky, go fourth, third, second, all the toes on, just hold. We've got one more set to go. Here we go. Big toe, pinky toe, fourth, third, second, first. So now you should feel all the tips of the toes on the floor, and your goal is to get 10 lengthened toes. So try not to scrunch as you take the floor with the toes. You should feel energy underneath your foot, right up into the intrinsics, the support muscles for your foot. Great. Now you're going to add, bend your knees, swing the right arm forward and the left arm back. Keep checking your toes. Swing the left arm forward and the right arm back. Swing your toes. Swing your arm, sorry. Check your toes. One arm up, one arm down. Good. I've got one eye on my toes. So I'm really enjoying connecting with the foot at the same time working with the movement through my shoulders and arms. So looking at the flow. Good. Now we have to pay attention, not just to the foot and ankle alignment, but also the knee, the hip. So careful you're not tucking. The spine. Careful you're not in hyperextension in your lower back. So make sure you can feel the core support. Long through the back, wide through the shoulders. Last one, last set, right and left. Good. Now keep two arms reaching back, a bit like you're about to take off. Shift your weight onto your left foot and just stay. Sweep the arms a little forward. Sweep the arms a little back. Sweep the arms a little forward. Sweep the arms a little back. Great exercise for the foot. Great exercise for the knee. And our female hips. Good. We go back to 2, reset. So look down, check your ankle and foot alignment. Check your toes. Shift weight onto the right. Little hover left. Slowly swing the arms a little forward. Slowly swing the arms a little back. So you've got lots of challenges as you move through that very tiny arm action, and it's tiny on purpose so that you don't throw it into the back. So you keep it local within the shoulder, but spending time in the isometric position for balance to really exercise those muscles in your feet. Place some stress on your knee and quad and your hip. We've got one more. Back to 2. Straighten up and stand. Spinal roll. Bend the knees and tip off the stack. Head, neck, upper back, middle back, lower back, heading towards your floor. Have a little moment. Slowly roll back up. Make sure your knees are bent. So we're carrying a bit of weight this morning. So really pay attention to the cues. You wouldn't want to do this on straight legs with weights. Soften, buckle at the knees. Make sure you're there with me. I'm in a little sit squat. Now I'm practicing my spinal roll. But ladies, I don't go very far. So my spinal roll is very small this morning. My head's only making it to level with my pelvis. I'm already getting a fabulous stretch at my back. And I'm already feeling the opposition work through my core. Slowly recoil. Straighten up through your legs. Arrive at the top. You've got one more. Exhale, spinal roll. And slowly restack, recoil, arrive at the top. Good. Standing tall, you're going to do a little rise on your tippy toes. And then a very slow descent. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise on your tippy toes. Extra little challenge not to grip the toes. So see if you can feel, without looking down, the length through your toes. That's your goal. So how do you not grab the floor with your toes as you start to lift your heels up, but rather increase the energy underneath the arch of your foot, right where those intrinsics strap up and in. See if you can feel it before you take off. Anchor into the floor with the ball of your foot. Connect the toes and then find the energy up underneath the foot to rise. So I'm very aware of my lack of control there. So I'm actually not going very high. I'm kind of going halfway up, but it's so fabulous because I can feel the calf immediately and I can feel the energy underneath my foot and in my intrinsics straight away. We've got 2 to go. Last one. Okay, it gets a bit more fun. So now you're going to stand on one foot. I've turned back to camera so you can follow. You're going to slowly circle the arm out wide and overhead. Then you're going to circle the other arm out wide and overhead. And you're going to bring 2 back down. Try that pattern one more time, but take off with the other arm. Raise it up. Raise it up. And return it down. Good. Now I'm going to give my left hand the same hand that I'm standing on. So everything's on the left. I'm going to give it both the weight. So I'm going to take off with my left arm. Now the right arm has nothing in it. I'm going to transfer both the hand weights into the right arm and I'm going to come down on the right. Interesting for the spine, huh? And the right arm takes off. Meanwhile, I don't know about you, but my foot is aching. Left arm takes off. 2 arms, left hand exchange, coming back down. Okay, I'm cooked. I'm hoping you're like me. Give it a shake. Oh, great, huh? Such simple stuff. But we have gradually intensified the activities as we've gone from start to finish with very little rest. Okay, we know the pattern now. So both hand weights in your right, standing on your right. Right arm, be careful of your posture. So how do you not arch your back? And without arching the back, second arm, you arrive at the top, you feel tall but not arched. Exchange the hands and slowly return. And you'll notice I'm correcting my balance all the time with that spare leg because my goal is to not hop or shuffle. So I'm kind of anticipating when I need to, when I feel myself losing my balance, I just use that spare foot for a light correct, a soft touch, just to bring me back onto center, onto balance. We've got one more set. Right arm, left arm, exchange. Both come slowly down. Okay, that's got it. Whew. Okay, shall we get rid of these? Would you like to meet me down on your back? I've got my favorite little Pilates tool. I've got something to grab, squeeze between my inner thighs, which we've used over the last period of time for this last several weeks. If you've got anything, a cushion, anything at all that you can use just to stimulate the inner thighs. That's where we are right now. Okay, so we're down on our back. Have a little moment. Hopefully you're as warm as me. So I do feel a lot of energy. I do feel very woken up, which is great because it feels like now I've got just increased sensitivity. I feel like I know my back. Feel like I'm in touch with it. I can already sense the length of it. I feel like I know my shoulders. Can already increase the sensation of widening across my upper torso, and my shoulders and my arms feel very awake. I'm very in my feet. So connecting to the mat and the floor now is super easy, almost intuitive. I feel like they just take the mat. The toes are there, the arches are there, and that sense of leg to hip, again, I feel like I'm already there. So let's use it. Next deep breath out, imprint, nice and gently, really subtle. It's the smallest possible movement. Teaching the body to have control over the small is where you really start to feel like you're understanding your body. So it's a very slow movement. The speed is considerably down. It's very local. You want to feel the movement within your pelvis, within the small of your lower back. Iron out all the bumps. Foster the breath. Lead the movement with the breath. Be in your feet as you imprint. Sense your legs, your hips, the whole spine, the shoulders, the arms, the rib cage, the breath. Now just stay. So you're in your imprinted position. Just breathe. So when I breathe, now that I've started movement, I'm very generous on the exhale. I try to get it a little bit deeper each time. And on the inhale, I'm generous but controlled. So I suggest to my body that I'd like to feel the air coming in, but not filling my belly. So I'll feel a gentle sensation in my abdominal wall, but I don't want it to fill, because if it fills, I lose the support, and that's going to be particularly challenging right now because we're about to do pelvic curls. So from your deep tucked imprinted position, now just follow the raising pelvis up. As you roll through the spine, it feels like a floating carpet, a magic carpet. And carried by the weight of your legs, the support of your legs, the pelvis is trying to come right up in line. So if we took a photograph, we'd see a diagonal line right through the side body, hitting the knee. The hip would be in line, the spine in its neutral position, shoulders are placed, they're supporting, the arms are actively supporting us up here. Slowly roll down, take your time. Can you melt through the upper back without falling? Then can you melt through the middle back without falling? Melt through the lower back. I know, it's really slow, huh? Slow on purpose though. Giving you time to really find that articulation. Okay, here we go. Into the tuck first off, and just pause. Have 2 deep breaths there. Can you roll the pelvis into the tuck a little more? Letting go of the tension in the front of the hip, letting go of the tension in your lower back. Good. Now, as you start to take off from the floor, you want to think about that position of the pelvis. Try and keep the micro tuck all the way up. You'll get about 3/4 of the way and then you'll have to release it in order to come in line to the bridge position. Now just stay. We've been practicing some rotations. Left hip high, right hip low. Take your time. Come back to center. Right hip high, left hip low. Come back to center. Ensure you've got the spine in the right position. So check you're not arching in your lower back. You'll know when you get it right because it feels very strong in your glutes and your hamstrings, but you actually shouldn't feel lower back at all. If you can feel lower back, please come down from the top of your bridge position. So lower your pelvis down a little and find a little more length. Deepen your chest and really feel the support through your abdominals, your hamstrings, and your glutes. One more. Finishing on the left. Good, this time we don't roll home. This time we plank down and we come to just a little hover. In our hover, with our buttocks just up off the floor, you're going to pick your left foot just up. And then you're going to come back to 2 feet. So be careful when we pick the right foot up, what does it feel like not to tip the pelvis line? So can that pelvis line be running parallel to your floor, parallel to your ceiling? That takes a lot of control through your pelvis, through your glutes, through your hip, through your whole side. You'll feel your shoulders. You'll feel your ribs, your waist, your obliques, your abdominals, pretty much a whole. Good, we've got one more each hip. Okay, now we're on the right, left foot up. We're now going to extend left leg. We're now going to pick the pelvis up to the bridge and we're going to come back down to that hover. Really feel your abdominals before you raise and back to the hover. Exhale to lift us up and back to the hover. Super slow on purpose. So we're working on the endurance, hamstrings and glutes. But for hip health, we're also working on the quad side of the leg. So the ability to be able to open up that quad and hip, at the same time provide the strength through the hamstring, the underside. Last one, control the lowering back to the hover. Keep thinking about your ability to center. Right leg off. Here we go. Raise it up and lower it down. 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 And raise it up, down. Back to 2. Now lower your pelvis back to the floor. Good job. Hug your knees into your chest. I'm going to keep my little ball. I'm going to bring myself up into my rolling like a ball position. Hard exercise, especially the way we're about to approach it. So you're going to start a baby rock here, but your challenge is not to change this distance between your chest and your knees. So you've got to fight with me. It's a little moment to work on grit on a Thursday morning before your Easter break. You're going to squeeze your heels together and you're going to hold that little parcel between your legs. So the first thing you think about is rocking. But remember, you can't change the distance between your chest and your knees. So the rock needs to get big enough that we make it to the top. And when you get there, you keep practicing. Remember that relationship between chest and your knees. Stay very strong, feet pressing together. Really feel that parcel, secure it. Imprint to roll through the spine. 2 more. Last one. Good. We go back down. We're about to do spine twist. So arms wide, legs tabletop. Tipping left, look right, and come back to center. Tipping right, look left, and come back to center. Good. So carrying that little parcel between your knees across. Remember the purpose of the exercise though, those underpinning things you want to feel is the connection to the spine before you take off, so it's not arched. The support around your corset muscles, super important right now because we're going through a big range of motion with the goal being to mobilize your mid-back, your thoracic, but you're only going to get that if you strap on enough around your corset muscles, your waist, your deep abdominal. Let's do one more each side. Last time. Okay, good. Land the feet, still got your little parcel. Take your hands behind your head. We've been playing with quite a recipe here for our chest lift to get stronger for the preparation for the hundreds. So we'll revisit what we've been working on. So step 1, glide slide the shoulders down into your trunk. Really feel that. Now let it go. Breathe in, just let the shoulders go loose. Little shrug. Now breathe out. Glide slide the shoulders down the sides of your trunk and feel it wrap into your ribs, waist, pelvis. Let it go. Breathe in. Let them shrug. I feel like this is where most of us end up in the chest lift, is here in our shrug, in our breath in, breathe in position. Exhale to feel it. That's where you need to be. Sustain it. Slowly curl up. Okay, now be careful. So double check yourself. Have you still got that feeling of the down, the depression in your shoulders? Does it feel like your shoulders are part of your trunk? Does it feel like your arms are broad and wide, but actually slotted into your shoulders, into your side body? And we're just here. We're breathing. Slowly lie back. So you want a complete picture. Inhale, let them shrug a little. Okay, exhale, really sense them. Shoulders, upper torso, coming towards lower torso as you flex. Good. Every time you breathe in, I want you to get a little longer through your spine. I want you to feel the length in your back. Every time you exhale, I want you to slide your ribs towards your pelvis further. Every time you breathe in, get a little longer. Feels like someone's grabbed hold of the tippy point of your head and they're giving you a little tug back. Exhale, glide slide those ribs towards your pelvis. 2 to go. Lie back. We've got one more set, ladies. Little shrug breath in. Note to self. Exhale, glide, slide shoulders. Really feel them slotting in. Curl up, keep them slotting in. They're supporting the weight of your head. Exhale. Feel the head in the hands. Feel the back of the neck long. Feel the back resting on the mat, the weight of the back. One more breath. Good job. Okay, you need to take your tool out for a little tick. We're going to progress your single leg lifts today. So you're going to unfold the left leg towards the ceiling. Big, deep hamstring stretch. Keep it long. You're going to send it all the way back down to the floor. It folds in. It tries to touch your chest. You unfold it up towards your ceiling. In its lengthened state, you reach it back down to the floor. Keep practicing. So some fun imagery is you imagine your hip is a fishing reel. It's winding the fishing line. So that's a really nice imagery. So your leg feels like it's being carried by the hip joint. So the energy is very local. So rather than paying attention to your leg, you're actually paying attention to how it feels within your hip joint. It's a rolling sensation. Now we reverse it. It comes up long. It folds back in. And it glides out along the floor. Now that you know what's happening in the left, you've got a bit used to the movement pattern. Bring your awareness into the spine. See if you can sense the length of it, but also the centering of it. So be aware of not hitching and shifting those lower back joints to one side. Be aware of not sashaying across to one side with your sacrum. All right, let's do the other hip. Quick switch. Unfold the right leg up. Check your sacrum position right now. Does the pelvis still feel centered? From the hip, fold it in towards your chest. Send it up. Low and long down to the floor. Let's reverse it. From the hip, carry the long leg. Fold it in nice and gently, smoothly, and send it away. One more time. Reach it up. Fold it in. And send it low and long. Okey-doke. Evita hula. Grab your little tool between your legs again. Place the hands. Have your little breath, your little shrug moment. Your deep exhale. You're going to hover just off the floor, so barely lifted in your lengthened state. You're going to spiral around your imaginary rotisserie. Twist as far as you can. See if you can see your back elbow. And on that rotation, come up. Lie back. Recenter. Check you didn't sashay the pelvis. You hover just off the floor and you twist, rotate, spiral. So we're breaking down the hula pattern. Curling up on that diagonal. We're lying back to find the lengthened state. Rotating back to the center. Fun, huh? So breaking down a very difficult exercise. I find hula incredibly hard. And it's the rotation aspect that I find hard. So by practicing just hovering up and really refining that spiral, not from the pelvis, but from your rib cage and thoracic spine, you actually start to understand the pattern. We've got one more each side. Take your time. Refining patterns, the easiest way to do that is to slow it down and break it down. Last one. And rest. Good job. Rock yourself to sit up. Let's have a little mermaid. Here we go. So have a little moment. Hopefully you feel as good as me. I feel very spaced here and also incredibly within my column. So I feel like I understand the center, feel a little closer to center. Let's tip as far as we can. Let's creep to fingers as far as we can. Let's be aware of this support. Now let's use it. Really use your waist to sweep over into that side bend. So right now I'm focusing on lifting up through this rib cage line. So my energy is going this way to go over and then lift back up. Do you want to try that concept with me? So we go over. Good. Now, before I think about touching the floor, I'm actually trying to lift up through this rib cage line as though somebody's picking me up, which means I'm folding into myself. I'm folding into the shape, which really increases the oblique work and gives you a much better action through your spine, a much better stretch, rather than just thinking about touching the floor. Then you can take this pattern into lots of other activities, not just in the Pilates studio, but life. You'll just feel freer in your mid-back. So really pick us up, not necessarily thinking about touching the floor. Try and get the lift up into this top side. And you're using your obliques to do that. Last practice. Shift the rib cage. Really pick up that underside waist. So it doesn't feel like you're collapsing. It actually feels like you're shifting into your own shape. Last time. And I think that's a little dismissed in this exercise. So hopefully you take that away today. All right. It's spine stretch and saw time. So your legs, if you're facing me, mine are just outside the width of my hip pelvis. We're going to reach the arms up and look up. You're going to try and grab the thumbs. So thumb on thumb. From there, you're going to do your spinal roll, tipping off the imaginary wall. And without losing the abdominals, the pelvis stays at home base. You're trying to reach over the top of your pelvis line and touch the space right between your feet. And then you're going to roll back up and you're going to look up. You're going to open your arms and you're going to try and touch the floor behind you wide with your fingertips. So you're in a basic back extension position. You're going to reach the two arms up above your head. You're still in basic back. Thumb on thumb. You're going to spinal roll. So you change the head, the neck. You feel those upper back joints shift into the flexion. You feel the middle back joint shift into the flexion. Now be careful. You've got to keep the pelvis back at home base. You've got to keep pressing backs of your calves into the floor. Your legs are fully lengthened and stretched. And you're going to slowly roll back up. Such a great stretch through the back. And I think because of the way we approached Mermaid today, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a much better feeling in my middle back. Look up, look up, look up, look up, look up. Okay, try and hold that feeling in your upper back. Okay, thumb on thumb, and now roll. Take your time. Those upper back joints need a lot of love. And really lift out of your waist. Keep lifting out of your waist as we go forward. Try and reach the space between your feet. Make sure you feel like your abdominals and your waistline is actually being pulled back. Press down into the calf. Raise back up. Look up. Open your arms. Good, make sure the head's not hanging. Make sure you're actually lifting your heart and chest. All right, right arm lifts up. Left hand creeps a little bit further behind you. Left hand lifts off the floor. We're in our saw. Touch your tippy toe. Lift back up. Left hand goes to the floor. Look right up into your right side. Which side? Big windmill with the arms. Right hand touches the floor, creeps behind you. Keep creeping behind you as far as you can first, and then raise it up and reach over and touch right foot. Touch the floor, right hand, look up left. Get as tall as you can through the left side. Windmill the arms. Left hand is going behind you as far as you can. Right hand is going over the top to try and touch your left big toe. Look up. Windmill. Sweep over. Thaw. Rest. Ooh. Okay. Lying down on your side. Into our little side series we've been working on. We've got quite a few things here over the past few weeks that we've been practicing. One has been our side kick. I think we should go there first. So the feet are ever so slightly in front of the hip, just a little. I'm going to flex my underneath foot, and then I'm going to raise and flex my top foot. I'm going to use my top hand for support, so it gives me really good feedback about my alignment of my shoulders, my upper back, my spine, my pelvis. I'm going to sweep the top foot forward, no pulse yet. I'm going to sweep the top leg back, forward. I'm going to flex and sweep the top foot forward. Really check yourself. Make sure you haven't buckled your underneath leg. Sweep the top leg and a little pause. What do you feel right there? Do you feel the center? Do you feel the alignment? Do you feel the legs, the hips? Flex it and sweep it forward. I think hopefully you agree with me. There's been a massive focus on control this morning. So lots of the patterns we've practiced, you've potentially done a lot, but we've really refined and defined them and placed more emphasis on the control. Slowly return and reach it back. So it's more mindful movement. Flow with the movement with your breath. And breathe out. Very good. Bend both knees. Bit of a favorite, little clam moment coming up as preparation before we side kick. Top leg opens up and wraps back in. So your journey here is to try and feel your underside thigh. So can you tone up the underside edge of your leg to support what you're doing through the socket here, within the joint here, within your deep rotators? It's really tempting to let that underside just hang. So I find it useful to give my feet a little press. So I'm pressing down just gently on my top foot with my bottom foot. There's a feeling of pressing the top heel into the bottom foot. I've got my hand here just as support, feedback, just to make sure I haven't left out the connection to the center and the abdominal. Last one. Okay, gets a little more fun. Stretch the underneath leg, top leg. We do same with a straight underneath leg. So the top leg comes forward, the top leg opens up for the clam, and the top leg lowers. The top leg opens up for the clam, and the top leg closes. Be careful you're not swinging your pelvis. So it's like opening the gate. You got to really feel the hinge. Secure the pelvis, the spine, so the leg's got something to move against. Okay, it stays, ladies. It unfolds. It comes back. It folds. It opens. So this is all getting ready for that tricky exercise that's the long lever that comes up on the side. So we've got to develop the mechanics for that first. We've got to be mobile enough, but also strong enough within the hip. That takes time. So I've given you quite a few ideas to develop that mobility in this side setting this morning. Terrific. Shall we play with that whole series on the other side? Okie doke. Side kick. We swing forward. Control it. Slowly sweep it behind. Flex the foot. Really reach through your heel. Swing it forward. And control it and sweep it back. 2 to go. Swing it forward. Back to home base and see if you can take it behind. Last time, swing it forward and swing it back. Reset, clam, heels in line with buttocks, hand on top, slowly open. So again, you're in touch with that rolling action within the hip joint. You can actually feel the turn as the leg comes up. You can feel the head of that femur, that spherical head, doing its thing within the joint. And you're doing your very best to get out of the way. That's the idea. So you don't want the socket to feel clenched. You just want the supporting muscles to come in and around it to support. So those supporting muscles are your glutes, your deep rotators, those tiny little fan muscles that live within your pelvis. So those of you studying with us, after Thursday morning, you take a really deep dive back into your anatomy again, because the more you understand it, the better your own practice becomes. But also that's the secret to your teaching skills and your cueing skills. Last one. Good. Now you stretch back up. Same. Top leg comes up, top leg open. Top leg lowers, control it. Really use that underside leg and hip. So I'm pushing down into that underside leg. I'm lifting out of the underside waist. It's a whole body exercise. I can feel my underside shoulder, rib cage, waist, hip, leg. Now we add the next little moment. So we're coming up into that position, and now we're slowly unfolding it. We're bringing it back in. That's a big stretch for the adductors. So note to self, if this is hard this morning, you need to do some gentle adductor stretching, and I'll show you how before we finish class today. Back in. Last time, opening the leg, lifting back up, folding in, lowering down. Good job. Okay, sitting up with me. Let's do what we just spoke about. So for homework over the course of this week, such a simple activity, but I know stressful, but important for pelvic health, female pelvic health. So you want all this area to be active, to be exercised, to be warm. All of these structures affect your pelvic floor and your pelvic floor health, which is your female pelvis health. So you want all these areas that we've worked on this morning to be a part of your day. So your homework is you've got to press your feet together, and then you've got to lift up as tall as you can, and you've got to gently press your knees to the floor and count to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently release it. Here you go again. Use your hands on your feet. You've got to press those feet together. After you've pressed the feet together, gently press your knees. 10, 9, sit up straight. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If that goes well and you want the next challenge, you take your hands behind, keep pressing your feet together, and we go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last set, press the feet, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest, ladies. Over onto all fours. Let's just finish off with a few cat curls. So lengthening out and flexing in. Slowly snaking back. We've worked on this. Remember, we initiate from the pelvis. Delay your head and feel the pelvis roll and pull. Sequencing through the spine. Be careful you're not in your shrugged shoulders. We've also worked on those this morning. So you're pressing the flat palm into the floor as you keep moving the spine. You're lifting your weight out of your wrists as you keep moving your spine. Your two arms are fully outstretched. You're driving the energy up into the head of the shoulder. So there's the least amount of impact on those wrists. Improving your health of your upper torso, your head, your neck, your breathing, your system. Last one. Okay, drop your weight back onto those feet. Organize them. Have a little moment looking down. See if you can get space between all the toes. Can you see daylight between all your toes? Can you get them all long? And then look into the foot and just double check you've got your alignment. So that highway running between the center of your ankle and your second toe. You feel the lift and the energy underneath your arches because we're about to stand. From your foot, slowly straighten. Keep them bent, buckled, knees bent, buckled, spine flex, check your feet. Slowly roll back up without letting your arches collapse. Keeping your toe push downs. Sequence up through your spine. And you've arrived. Have a little moment with me before you race out for your day. Just close your eyes. So even though you can't see your feet right now, can you sense them taking the floor? You're about to walk through life. And through your whole day, as you walk through life, it's going to be your foot. So as we step through Thursday, can we articulate through the foot today and catch ourselves out as often as we can when we're standing? Come back to our conversations this morning about your foot health. So now your legs feel like two pistons. You're driving the energy up from the foot through the long leg to find your hip. So because the legs are energized now, you feel like you can balance your pelvis on top of those two piston type legs. So they've got to really work. If we get that right, and we get the energy from the foot driving up through the two femurs, then the pelvis plays, the pelvis dances. So does the spine. So do the shoulders. So does the head neck. So you'll find yourself unlocking. Gently open your eyes and have a lovely day. Happy Easter. Hope Easter Bunny comes.